I want to give a heads up on something, and I hope I'm not being too blatant. I have a different way of thinking sometimes, but I mentioned before about I never saw this guy's site, Kid Dynamite, Kid Dynamite's World, and I think he's got some very good information on his blog. He will give you some good analysis, and I'm getting very, I agree with that statement that Bob says. Bob Chapman is a salesman, and he's a super salesman, very good. And as far as selling, I know he's on Alex Jones a lot, and Alex Jones gets on a show, and Alex Jones will pump him up and say, he's been right 98% of the time. He calls things right. He doesn't call things right, but makes me suspicious of the whole group. Very suspicious. I'm more than suspicious. To me, it's a slam dunk what it's about. And I was out of town and I wasn't looking at any of this stuff, and I'm not sure if I would have saw this or not. But I do look at a lot of things during it. Even like I said, I have my elliptical set up where I can read stuff if I want to read stuff on the internet or whatever. And that was actually a lot how I learned a lot of things about alternative health, reading it while I was at the gym on a laptop through the internet. So you spend a few hours a day doing that, you get a pretty good knowledge. But I might have saw this. If I was not out of town. And he had a whole pile of articles here. And this is on, like I said, Kid Dynamite's World, about Sprott selling off silver. And I knew about the one on April 28th. That I knew about. But I didn't know about all this other stuff till later on, because I got back, I don't know, September 1 or something like that. And I guess, I was still moving stuff and everything like that, so I was kind of like, I was looking at things, but not as keenly as I was before. But I think in the future I'm going to pay very careful to this guy's blog. I just want to give it a heads up. I know a lot of people listen to a lot of different people. I don't even want to mention names too much, because, maybe I probably pissed off some people with Bob Chapman was saying something with Bob Chapman. But just be careful of that guy too. Believe me, trust me on that one all the way. And I just want to point out one extremely obvious fact. This was kind of like major news. Now, I didn't see it because I got an excuse. I wasn't around, at that time. I was busy with something else and I was gone. And, but you know what? I don't know how many of these so-called silver experts were saying anything about this. I don't think any of them were. It was more or less silver's going up, silver's going down, blah, blah, blah. But, like, say, for instance, Lindsey Williams, and I don't think Lindsey Williams should be faulted for this, but he was told that silver was going to go between $75 and $100 an ounce in 2011. Now, it might go to that pretty soon, for all I know. I don't really know. But would Sprott have been selling if it was going to $75 to $100 an ounce? No way. This guy, in my opinion, he knows some stuff. He's not that lucky. He can't be that lucky. April 28th sells 1.6 million in PSLV. Talk about some serious timing there. That is good. And he didn't tell you beforehand. He's out there interviewing. Well, I think the ratio is going to be this and that, and silver eventually is going to go to $100 an ounce, and great. I also want to point out, and I'm going to say right off the bat, I get mad at Jews sometimes too. You know why? Because they're good. They know what the hell they're doing. They're good, man. They're good. They know what the hell they're doing. And if Sprott, his last name was Rothschild or something, or Epstein or whatever, boy, there'd be all kinds of eyes focused in on him for this kind of stuff right here. But he's not. And I know Max Kaiser calls him a silver vigilante. And I'm getting sick of this whole bunch of garbage because that's really what it is. The silver bullion, physical silver crowd. And you know, they got all these interviews where Max Kaiser's on this guy's show and Bob Chapman's on this guy's show. And there's all these, they're all talking to each other, right? Yeah. Anyway, this guy here, I think Kid Dynamite, gave a good heads up about this stuff. And I want to mention, he's Jewish. He's Jewish. He's good to go. He's good to go. I pay some good attention to this guy. He's all right. And you know, I was looking at, I downloaded this chart off of you know, Sprott site. You know, it's PSLV. And you know, looking at this back, this was Friday the 13th, January Friday the 13th, 2012. And you know, the more I'm thinking about this, I don't know, I'm getting mad. To tell you the truth, I'm getting mad now because I'm starting to look at this in a different light. You know, the share price on Thursday was $15.22, and SLV went up. You know, the regular SLV, because the spot price of silver rose slightly that day. But you notice what happened with the Sprott fund, and the volume looked pretty high, didn't it? I mean, the day before it was 334,000 shares, then it was 861,000 shares on that Friday, and it was dropping. I mean, what does that really mean to blatantly right on the surface? It's like some people knew that this was coming up about this offering. That's what it means to me. I mean, really. And here you see 13% drop from, you know, I'm not saying 10%, I'm saying 13%, because actually, if this was, you know, if the premium was the same from Thursday to Friday, and why would the premium drop when silver was going up that day? As I say, people were selling off because they knew. And then the first thing in the morning on this day, on Tuesday, January 18th, there was this super spike where people bought in, and I bought in too. I bought some in because I knew what happened. I mean, obviously I would have loved to sell there and buy in there, you know, and I would have pocketed the difference. But the premium went from 24.5% to 9.1% inside of a few days. And the thing I don't like about that is, you know, say silver goes up and down, you can't catch which way it's going. But that's because, you know, there's a problem with the euro. There's a downturn in the economy, or the price went up because there's good news about the industrial demand is up from China or something like that. So, you know, those are things where it's all the way across the board. But when I look at this fund, I mean, you know when this event's going to happen. It's a sure bet. It's a sure bet. There's some people that, you know, knew when he was going to make this offering the exact day, and they knew what to do. And that pisses me off, to tell you the truth. That does piss me off. And you know, if he was a Rothschild, I think he'd be called out for it left and right. Not that I'm defending the Rothschilds, but you know what I mean. You know, that's where I kind of like, you know, I sometimes will get mad at Jewish businessmen because they're not all of them are, you know, I mean, I ain't going to call them a bunch of saints all the time, but they're good. Nobody is a saint. You know, this guy isn't Jewish. You know, I'm going to say this stuff because I know on YouTube there's a lot of, you know, talk about this stuff, you know, and I just want to mention, you know, I don't know, it's like, it's a mixture. It's a mixed bag. But, you know, you look today, here, you know, a couple weeks later, the premium even dropped more. It's down to 7.24%. And I got this right off his website. So I'm going to pay attention to this premium. And, you know, Kid Dynamite made this thing up. I don't know if this is his quote, but it was off his site. He says, the game is try to scalp PSLV Premium and get out before the next offering comes and the potato burns your hand. And I think that's good advice. I think that's good advice because you know, yeah, I heard Max Kaiser call this guy a silver vigilante, but the physical silver crowd is almost as bad as Wall Street. That's what I'm thinking. And the people that are playing the game, whether they're in physical silver or not, they can get burned one way or another. I think if you hold on long enough, you're going to come out good. But like I said, every time you look at silver, what does it do? Up, 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 crash. Up, 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 crash. And you know what the physical silver bug's going to be telling you? Hold, hold, hold. And I really don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. Nobody does. Only they know. So, I almost call that a little bit of a conspiracy too. So you got to watch both sides, the Wall Street and the physical silver bugs. I mean, there could be some serious money to be made right now on leverage. I don't know if this is going to pull back too far. I was thinking like 32, but you know what? That might be like, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to pull back that far, And just looking at price points where it's been, yeah, I guess it possibly could. It possibly could, But the news that's going to come out of Europe, I don't know which way it's going to go, one way or the other. I think silver's getting ready to take off. But somehow, I think the takeoff point might not be till April. And it's a little early yet. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's a little early yet. It might take a good month before silver takes off hard. Because there's going to be a lot of things going on as far as what the Fed's going to say. And they're not going to come out. Well, as soon as I think they have to. I'm looking at the timetables for the elections. That's really kind of basing my estimate on. Not so much the technical charts. I got to go by bigger events sometimes. The technical charts can tell you where, when this thing crashes, where it's going to find resistance and it's going to, it's going to bounce from. That's where I think the technicals work great. So next time, say you're going up this curve and you can't pick the top that well, but say you're selling in here, you're selling in here, you're selling here, you might be able to pick the bottom very good from technical information. Because usually when something's dropping off a cliff, it's a hell of a lot easier to determine where the bottom is. And it's not a hell of a long wait. That's another thing too. So, that wouldn't be a bad. The technicals I think work better than. But what I'm going to base on where I think silver's going to start taking off is how they're going to time things for the elections. They don't want to do it too early, and they don't want to wait too late. They're not going to wait till June to start really pumping up the economy, buying back mortgage-backed securities, or doing whatever they got to do. More quantitative easing, buying federal treasury notes, or whatever they got to do. So I think it's going to probably come about in April. I think that's going to be around about the time you're going to start seeing things taking off. But in the meantime, I'm going to probably put some small bets. If this pulls back a little bit, put some small bet in for triple leveraged silver. And it could be a bomb. I don't know. But either way, I think if I even held it for a few months, I'd be okay. I'm not going to do a big bet. But if I see like a 10% gain real fast, it's gone. I'll take the money. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm not too keen on jumping in there just yet on leverage. I'm going to hold this PSLV, but right now it's pretty much aggravating me because if I would have bought SLV, maybe like a month ago when his premium was up, the PSLV was looking pretty good. But silver jumped up 20%, but then this PSLV lost a hell of a lot of its premium, right? And when I bought PSLV, I think silver was a little over 30. The premium on the PSLV was getting up there because it was starting to take off again. So right now, if I was in SLV, I'd be in better shape. Like a couple months ago, PSLV, it was looking better than I had PSLV, but now the opposite is the case. And it's all because of this stuff. You know, they make it look like this guy's a big hero because he's buying more silver and taking physical silver off the market. But he's killing the premium on the fund every time he does that. And from when I look at these numbers on Friday the 13th, PSLV went down slightly, while SLV, the spot price, was going up. And there was a lot more volume from the day before to that Friday. And all of a sudden they made the offering just a couple business days later, or the next business day, I guess. I don't know what it was. It was Monday night or whatever the hell it was. I don't know when that offering would have been made, but it was right at this time frame. And the first thing in the morning on Tuesday, January 18th, they had this tremendous volume, first thing, and it looks like people were selling off on Friday and buying back in on Tuesday morning. You know, so they got like 13%. They took off 13% cash or whatever they did, and they got it that much cheaper. Me, I just went and bought a little bit more of it. So like, whatever I bought is now up this much, you know. So I mean, I made a gain on it, but the core holdings stinks. I would have been better off in SOV. You know, the whole scenario changed from over a month ago. And I think these words of wisdom, I don't know if this is actually Kid Dynamite's words of wisdom, but he had this on, he was quoting somebody else, I think. But it was try to scalp PSLV's premium and get out before the next offering comes and the potato burns your hand. So right now the premium is even lower. So I'm going to watch when this premium goes up again, up to around this amount, and I'm going to get rid of this damn thing. I don't like this thing now. And you know, I was listening a little too much to Max Kaiser about this guy being a silver vigilante. And you know what? I'm not listening to any of them. Call me evil, but I'm telling you right now, I'm giving you some straight scoop about this stuff. You got to watch the Wall Street crowd, and you got to watch the physical silver crowd too. So, and I'm going to say that I'm probably going to make a small bet on triple levers next week, possibly. If this Euro news looks kind of bad and silver's going down, I might make a small bet on it. I don't know which way it's going to go, but if it pops up, you know, a couple percent, which might be 6% on that thing, goodbye. That's what I'll do. So, just going to tell you what I'm going to be doing. So, but I don't have a crystal ball. But that's how I play. That's how I play. Fiat cash. Nothing wrong with it.